Alright, so, also, just want to make note, I've got UV Packmaster here. I'm not using that for this tutorial, because I want this to be accessible to everybody without paid features. So, what we're going to do here, because I've gone and done some experimenting off screen to try to figure this out, what we're going to do is we're going to select all of our islands. We're going to set it to individual origins for the scaling, and we're just going to scale by 0.85, as I found a way to get everything to fit rather nicely by doing this. So we'll go with that. What we're going to do is just going to move all of our UVs up on the y-axis by 1 unit, and now we can start to place all of our UVs in. So I like to start with the bigger objects first, and I'm just going to constrain the UVs to the image bounds, just because I find it makes placing some of these ones at the corners a bit easier. So we'll just start with the larger pieces. Back segment here. We'll place this here. Now, for all intents and purposes, you can, if you wanted to, you could just use the automatic packing system, not worry about any of the overlapping UVs or any of that, and you'll get a somewhat decent result, but it won't be as good as putting the time into sort of manually laying these out. And I'm not saying that the solution I'm about to give is the best solution, though it's one that I've stumbled across. Frankly, I think it works well, so that's what I'm running with. And I'm no expert when it comes to UVs either. It's between making UV layouts and texture baking. It is my least favorite part of an asset creation. I do not enjoy it at all. So, but anyway, all I'm doing here is just looking for spaces which these are going to work. I'm just trying to fill in space with some of the bigger objects first, and we want to keep a bit of a margin between these. So like, you don't want things to be, just missing one another, because we're going to put pixel padding margins onto the bakes, and we don't want things too close. Otherwise, you will get overlap with the margins that we put on. So yeah, we want them like a distance apart, but just not too close. Yeah. So anyway, just there's not a lot to explain here. You can really just follow along with my trial and error of doing this. It's not perfect. It's not exact. It's just me just trying to see what works, and yeah. So I've just gone ahead and sped everything up here for the sake of brevity, as there's not an awful lot to explain with putting all these UVs in, and then I speed it up again further once we get to the smaller details. I thought I might as well show you guys enough of how to lay out the bigger ticket items in this UV. But I've sped it all up because this did take me about an hour and a half, and I didn't want to subject everybody to having to watch an hour and a half of me dragging UV islands around the UV sheet. So it's all sped up. You can just follow along with everything, and yeah, once it gets to the smaller pieces and it speeds up a bit more, it's really not that important where those are going. There's plenty of little spots around the sheet that you can cram them into. So yeah, feel free to just whack on some music and go through the whole process of doing the joyous process of UVs. Okay, jeez, that was horrible. So I'll put on screen right now Jesus, it took an hour. I'll put on screen right now a screenshot of my UV solution. So if you want, if you've just skipped over me putting everything in manually, you can just use that as a reference instead. And just do that. So the last thing we want to do before we round out this tutorial is we just want to select the overlap, the UVs with overlap. Sorry. And the reason we want to do this is because when we export it into Quixel Mixer, it doesn't like UVs that are overlapping. It just I don't think any texture painting software really likes it. So what we'll do is we'll just select all the overlapping UVs. So now we've just got these. We'll just use B, and we'll do a boundary select to deselect the. No, sorry. We want to deselect the right hand side. You can do the left hand side. It doesn't actually matter. I just like working with the right hand side of my meshes visible when I texture things. So if we move this around, and then all we're going to do is we're just going to go GX1 and just move all of these off the texturing sheet. It's also going to be of a massive benefit when we do our baking as well, because if we have overlapping UVs when we're trying to do say our ambient occlusion and our normal maps, it will cause a whole lot of errors that we don't want, and so this will just avoid all that. But yes, now this is all nicely UV'd, and we can see we've got pretty even texel density across all of this. It's pretty good. Obviously the bottom, big whoop. And then in the next episode, we'll go on to do our texture baking. So we'll cover our normal baking, AO, and material ID masks, all for Quixel Mixer.